The death toll from a fire at Tehran's notoriously brutal Lavin prison, known for housing political prisoners, has now risen to 8. There are reports guards fired tear gas during the chaos, forcing inmates to break windows to breathe. This comes 1 month into protests over the death in police custody of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, detained for allegedly not wearing her head covering properly. The regime's crackdown on demonstrators has been especially brutal on the Kurdish community. CNN's chief international investigative correspondent, Nima El-Bagher, reports that many women are now fleeing to Iraq and joining armed opposition groups to support protesters inside Iran. We want to warn our viewers, this report contains graphic video.
In a remote area in northern Iraq's Kurdish region, an all-female fighting unit belonging to the armed Kurdish Iranian opposition party, PAK, continues to train. These women have been pulled back from the front line. For the last 3 weeks, the area they patrolled in the northeast of Iraq has been hit by shells sent from across the border by Iran. This unit is part of a larger fighting force. For every single one of these women, this war is personal. Rezan, not her real name, crossed the border from Iran with the help of smugglers just over a week ago. The city of Sanandaj, which she calls home, is in Iran's Kurdish majority western region, and in recent weeks has been likened to a war zone, according to its residents, as protests have erupted here and across Iran after the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Kurdish Iranian. Rezan, just a teenager, joined these protests.
We were treating casualties, but we were also, like most people, participating in the revolution, in the uprising. Everyone who suffered from the oppression of the Iranian regime came down to the streets and market and defied the government. I was also participating, and I had no fear of death.
Rezan says that while she was dragged by her uncovered hair, she passed prone, lifeless bodies. And even after she left, she says she's continued to receive information about people she knows who have died. Like this man, Yahya Rahimi, a newly married 27-year-old, murdered by Iranian regime forces for sounding his horn in solidarity with protesters. What is happening with your family?
My family told them that no matter how many members of my family they arrest, and for as long as they oppress my people, I will not surrender to the invading Iranian government. We are ready to die.
When Kurdish Iranian Mahsa Amini died in police custody, her name became a symbol of the oppression of women across Iran. But Mahsa is not her true name. Her Kurdish name is Jine, a name Iranian authorities barred her family, like many other ethnic minority groups, from using. The regime only legally registers Persian names. Yet, in her last recorded moments, Jine resorted to begging her captors in her Kurdish mother tongue, in treaties which were ignored, reinforcing the fears of Iran's Kurdish minority. Iran's reach to oppress the protests within its borders is stretching far beyond them. Over the last few weeks, Iranian missiles have fallen into the Kurdish region of Iraq almost every day. The onslaught is relentless. This map shows where Iranian strikes have hit, killing at least 18 and injuring at least 63 to date. This video, filmed by a local television channel, shows the moment just after an Iranian drone and several missiles struck one of the Kurdish Iranian opposition party bases, killing 8 soldiers and injuring more. On a day on which 70 missiles, Kurdish authorities say, rained down in the space of just 4 hours. This base, only 2 years ago, was on the front line in the fight against ISIS after PAK received US training. It isn't far from US Central Command, CENTCOM forces. Just 1 day after the attack on the PAK base, CENTCOM shot down another Iranian drone, which appeared, they say, as a threat to CENTCOM forces stationed in the area. And as the US anti-ISIS presence in Iraq is set to continue, so is the threat Iran poses. These female fighters have vowed to fight until there is a regime change in Iran. They say they share Gina's pain. Called by a name forced on her by a repressive regime. All of them have a Kurdish name just like her, not spoken outside their homes. All of them say it's hard to imagine going back to how life was before.
Those who've made it here to Iraq say they consider themselves the lucky ones, despite having to circumnavigate a militarized response and live fire from regime forces just to get here with their lives. Despite feeling lucky, they say they carry with them the guilt at leaving behind their families inside Iran, Wolf.
Nimel Bagher, excellent reporting. Stay safe over there. Thank you very, very much.